All right, good morning everybody. Kind of a different video today, but I am not doing any off-road at all today. I originally planned on it, but I am actually leaving 4 hours earlier than I thought I wanted to because there is a massive snow system that's coming across from Iowa and the Midwest over to the East Coast, and I am trying to make it to Virginia, specifically around Northern Virginia, outside the DC area. Anytime I'm talking to family, coworkers, or just people that are going to be transiting through this general area going from West Virginia or the Midwest to DC, I highly recommend that this route you take it because it's just beautiful. And you can do this any vehicle. Like I said, we're not doing any off-road. Join me as we go through this day. It's just me. I've got all my gear loaded up in the back and in the bed of the truck, which you can't really see. But it should be pretty easy going, and the goal is to beat the snowstorm. Here on the map, this is basically the storm front that's coming through. I don't know why it's just cut off in that line, but it's a huge storm that goes basically all the way from Chicago down to, I think, the coast and the Gulf Coast in Florida. So we're getting ice and snow today. They're calling for about 8 to 9 inches of snow just here in West Virginia. And as we get to the northern parts and where we are from in Ohio, they're talking about 12 inches. So it's going to be a huge storm. We're trying to beat that before it hits us here. A little bit of background on where we're going today. I go through the middle part of West Virginia on a state route called State Route 48. It is a 2-lane highway for most of the way, except for one section that they're actually building right now. And so that's just a little bit of a sidebar where you kind of wind through country roads, but the views are just spectacular. So for the first part of the journey, as you're leaving from Charleston to Northern Virginia, the DC area, you're basically heading north on 79. And if you plug this into your GPS, it doesn't really take you this way. You have to know about this route because it'll route you up to 68, down through Cumberland, and up in Maryland, down into Northern Virginia that way. And so when we take that right at Weston, that's kind of when I start thinking, what kind of gas situation do I have? There are gas stations throughout, but if you're at a quarter tank or low at any sort of capacity for your comfort zone, I would recommend just having a full tank. You'll make it through all of that, no problem. But just in the event that you didn't, there's not a lot of stopping, and there's not a lot of gas stations unless you're in a town. And so that's just something to keep in mind. I always typically just fuel up in Weston, grab something, stretch my legs, give me a quick break before we start going into the mountains. But that's just something to keep in mind. But when you make that turn off at exit 99, which is Weston, you're officially on State Route 48. And State Route 48 is what you're going to take all the way into Northern Virginia, just south of Winchester to Interstate 81. So we're headed east on State Route 48. This is a 4-lane road, so right now you've got a passing lane. It'll stay like this up until about Elkins, and then at Elkins you actually have to get off the highway because it ends. There is no highway after that. That's where they're building about 20 to 25 miles of highway to connect this side to the other side of 48. That's also what would be 4-lane, I guess. So once you get past Elkins, you've got to get off the highway and you take this 2-lane country road, and that meets up through Parsons. It goes through Thomas, but then just after Thomas and right before the town of Davis, you actually hang a left and you're back onto the interstate of 48, which the highway again. Probably 3 miles out from Parsons, and I do love the little country road, the 2-lane road. Back when I had my Honda Civic, and really in the Jeep too, but it's a lot of fun to use that manual transmission, shift your gears, get in between the curbs. I loved that when I was driving this route back and forth from work. The construction vehicles that are going in and out for the construction of the highway, it slows you down a decent amount. If you really do get stuck behind a convoy, it kind of sucks, but it's not too bad. The other thing is, I've never transited through here during a snowstorm or just after a fresh snowstorm where snow had fallen. And they do a decent job about plowing, but the road can be a little bit sketchy in areas where they just don't cover all of it, and it doesn't look like they throw salt. So there's a lot of snow drifting in the middle of the road. And I'm just very glad I have a Jeep so that if I do need to get out of something, I could throw it in 4-wheel drive and it'll be no problem with the amount that's already fallen and that they've cleared. You can see on the GPS here, we're about to go under the constructed State Route 48, and there it is. So they're literally in the process of building it. And I don't know, when I was driving by this, I took it for granted at how many of these bridges you cross in West Virginia are true bridges. They're not just, we have another highway or road going underneath. And we're traversing an actual valley, and you can kind of tell when we're driving underneath it here. So that's the State Route 48 that they're building. We're currently on the old State Route 48. Alrighty, we are probably about a mile out from the town of Parsons, and it's a very small town, very cool, but there's a gas station here in Parsons if you need gas, basic convenience stores. I think there might be an auto store, maybe 2 of them, but it's a very cool little town tucked inside these mountains, as you can see. You know, we're in the valley here. All right, guys, so we just did a quick pit stop here. We're in between Parsons and Thomas, West Virginia, and we're like 2 miles outside the town of Thomas. This stop that I'm at right now is my absolute favorite. And in the summer, fall, spring, anytime, it's the absolute best. But in the winter, it's just different. I don't really have much else to say other than this is epic. You gotta check this out. Look at all of this snow. Look at the rig in the snow. Oh, this is crazy. We literally just came up the hill from Parsons. But look at the rig. I mean, isn't this just insane? Wow. Man. This is sweet. I mean, just look at that view. Wow. It is cold. Look at the snow in the trees. All right, I just popped back into my seat because it's just freezing. I had no idea that it was this cold. I knew it was cold, but I came back in and checked, and it is 10 degrees outside. Another thing real quick, doing the weather reporting from the nice warm car, but you can see out here, that is directly to the west, northwest, and that's where that big storm is coming from. So you can see how dark it is and how dark it's getting. And we're heading directly to the northeast, and more directly east here in a second. You can see it's blue sky over there. I'm just getting back in for a quick break before I head down the hill into Thomas, and I think I'm gonna stop there, maybe find a coffee, use a restroom, maybe probably gas up. Yeah, I'm at half tank. And then unfortunately it's about 4 or 5 miles before we hit the 4-lane highway again, but the 2-lane country road does end for this trip at that point. So just gonna enjoy this little bit and then enjoy being in Thomas for a couple minutes while I make those pit stops. But isn't this just beautiful? See Thomas through the trees there. Here's downtown Thomas. All right, I just quickly stopped. We're here in Thomas. I've never done the downtown part here, just driven through it. It seems like it's got these really cool shops. I don't know if any of them are gonna be open because it is Sunday morning, but we are gonna just walk up the street super quick, hopefully find a restroom, maybe a little bit of coffee, and then jump back in. And the gas station's right around the corner. So you can see behind me, they've got these cool shops, and they go all the way down the street here. So this is a pretty cool little stop. You literally drive right past it. We're standing literally on State Route 48 here. Looks like they got a lot of snow. Whew. Yeah, that car's snowy. Let's go. Just got out of this cool little coffee shop. I picked up a just regular hot coffee, the chocolate croissant. Grabbed one of those, and they had cool stickers. I'm always looking for patches for the Jeep, but no patches in that one. A sticker will do, so grab that. All right, that's a good looking rig. Those order Tacomas, like it. Kind of cool they have a phone booth here. Here we are back at the Jeep. Looks good with the snow. Just got back in the car, got my croissant, got my hot coffee, almost like my chocolate. Got my hot coffee, and I'm pretty hungry, so I'm gonna eat this, grab some gas, then we're gonna start the boogie. Also, quick update on the weather map here. Made a good distance from Charleston, which is pretty much down here. Of course, we're in the middle of nowhere, West Virginia. Everything looks secure in the back. So from that gas station, which is a Sunoco gas station in Thomas, you're about 1 mile to where you make the turn to get back onto State Route 48. Well, technically you're on it, but you make that turn and it becomes that 4-lane highway that is all the way done up until pretty much the border of Virginia. West Virginia, specifically right past after Thomas, between Thomas and Gordonsville, there's this chunk of plateau up here that's alpine, and I love it. It's kind of like you're up north in New England, and there's a lot of pine trees, and it's just really cool. There's a lot of coal mining that's being done up here, and there's a massive power generation plant at Mount Storm, West Virginia, but there's nobody out here, so it's absolutely beautiful, as you can see. Got our first winter storm warning for where we are in West Virginia. I don't know exactly the county here, but we're in the northeastern part, just south of the panhandle of West Virginia. We still got a good bit away, but it looks like it has definitely gone through Charleston, West Virginia already, and is just sitting over the Charleston. It's making its way north, so we want to boogie in. This is the town of Wardensville. Wardensville is the end of the 4-lane highway. It's still in West Virginia. It's still the last town in West Virginia before you climb the mountain ridge. And at the very top of the mountain ridge is the border with the state of Virginia. And when you descend down the other side, you bump into Interstate I-81. So we're kind of getting to the end of the scenic parts here in our trip across State Route 48 in West Virginia and then over into Virginia. And I just want to say thanks for watching with us. I know it's kind of been an odd video and that we're not doing anything off-road or featuring something on the Jeep here. But this is absolutely one of my favorite just general highway drives, taking the scenic route. It's something I've done quite a bit when trying to visit family and go into the Northern Virginia area from Charleston. And so if you're ever in this area and looking for something to do, just want to go for a scenic drive for a weekend, highly recommend looking up State Route 48. I appreciate you watching. And with nothing really much left except for Northern Virginia driving and traffic, which is, thanks for watching. Thanks for being an active participant. And if you want to see more of this, go ahead and please subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you're notified every week when we post new videos. And we'll see you in the next one.